prevalent here in our country. So we have to go back to square one to find out really what's going on. That is air pollution, quality of the air, quality of the water, the food, and everything. We have to go back to the basics and try to find out what is going on with us as a people. I close on this one point. Apparently, there was a talk that the black race or the black people are the ones being used as guinea pigs. I'm praying to God that our government and our agencies here put some systems in place, at least start to develop some systems where we can check the quality of the food coming into our country. We can check the quality of our air to make sure that we can live as comfortable a life without a whole barrage of health issues as our fathers and mothers once did back in the day. I thank you for taking my call this morning and continue the great work, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling, Jeff. So prior to Jeff's call, that's another caller, PJ? Call on the line. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Yes, thank you, Michelle. And good morning to your guest,
Good
Dr.
morning.
Strawn and Dr. Nutritionist J.K. I am so encouraged when I hear conversations like this. And for me, one of the reasons is because anyone, like you all are saying and have said over the years, can be inflicted and can inflict ourselves by inflicting ourselves, I should say. You understand? And actually, we are literally paying to inflict ourselves. And so I would have been correct when I said that most of our diseases are created. And also, what is worse, in my humble opinion and submission, it is being what is the word? It is being promoted, for the lack of a better word, by governments, and in particular, our government, systemic government. Okay? And it, in my humble opinion, is an epidemic, and I'm happy to hear a doctor, Strawn, it's the first doctor, and I've been on the radio for 23 years talking like this. So to hear the first doctor live in the Bahamas being heard around the world saying that iodine or what you call it, that salt should not be sold. Pardon me, doctor?
Correct. You're correct.
What is the name of the salt again?
Salt with iodine in it.
Yeah, that's salt with iodine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I'm happy to know that our history as relates to our population, the majority of our population grew up in the island, and we grew up on the natural salt created by Almighty Creator Yahweh Elohim.
Yes, sir.
We lost that caller. Let me tell you something. I was on the pink Himalayan salt, right? Mm-hmm. It ain't cheap.
No, it ain't.
I went to the Bamsi place on East Bay Street, right? Mm-hmm. I got a bag, a good sized plastic bag of the pond salt.
Yes.
In like solid chunks or whatever you would call it, like little rocks or whatever.
Yep.
Right? That thing was so affordable.
Yes.
That has lasted me for months. All I had to do is take that home, put it in the processor, the blender, which is where I make my smoothies.
Right.
Do it up enough to grind it up enough to make it. And
put it in the shaker and you bound.
that will last me for months. I ain't even halfway through and I've had that for months.
Yes.
Much cheaper than if you go into the food store and buy the salt. We're killing you.
Yeah, much cheaper.
Yes. But before we get off the salt topic, one of my big issues is iodized salt. So they put iodine in the salt back in the 1920s because there were people who lived too far from the sea. So mothers were having children that were not normal. Grade point averages were lower in the Midwest of the U.S., in the central China, Central Africa, Sweden, and they realized that the mother didn't have enough iodine. So without enough iodine, her thyroid couldn't function. You can't make a baby properly. So there were some children that were deformed and retarded. right? Because the mother couldn't make them properly with insufficient iodine. Global problem, hundreds of millions of people affected. And so a simple thing as putting a little bit of iodine in the salt was a miracle. The problem was they didn't explain that the people who already had sea breeze and seafood would get sick. They didn't realize it would happen. Several governments went back and checked. The Chinese government checked. And the people who were on the coastal region of China now developed hypertension, diabetes, cancers, and miscarriages.
Because of too much iodine.
Too much iodine.
Right.
Now, we actually shouldn't sell iodized salt in the Bahamas.
Period.
Wow.
Like full stop.
So people wouldn't get confused. It
Yeah.
gets confusing. It says it's a necessary nutrient.
right.
Right.
Let me pick this up. No, but it killing you.
So let me ask.
Just even in young adults.
Yeah, I was, and preparing for the show, came across several articles talking about children
Yes.
with high blood pressure. So it's not just, like you say, back in the day when only old people dealt with this. So clearly, we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing to contribute to this problem?
Yes.
So much of what we do today, back in the day, our grandparents lived off the land and ate more, organic, healthy foods. And now we have all this processed food and everything is genetically modified. And so our bodies are bombarded with all of these substances that it can't understand, and it's going to react.
I like how you said can't understand, I love that because, see, that's how I correlate food and non-food. The body really doesn't understand it. The body is looking at it as, okay, I will continue to eat this or absorb this because they're giving it to me as food, but the body truly doesn't recognize it as real nutrition and food. And so we find a lot of diseases like hypertension. And when you just even in young adults.
Yeah, I was, and preparing for the show, came across several articles talking about children
Yes.
with high blood pressure. So it's